And good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the NASDAQ 100, being recorded on Monday, November the 10th at 2:31 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Market actually, in my view, kind of did exactly what I was expecting it to do without any major hiccups. So it continues to follow pattern, but it continues to react as I suspected it would after putting in that fourth wave low on Friday. Now, what also added to it for me was what actually took place on Friday, which I went over pretty much in detail on the podcasts over the weekend. And that was that in my view, they were the dealers, or there were other larger traders who absolutely had a couple of algorithms running, both of which I nicknamed search and destroy. So because it just was out looking for these types of positions, and they moved the market down to where whoever was doing the algorithm could monetize, get out of, change, or just resolve positions. But this was like the most amazing part that I could notice, and I might be wrong in saying this is what happened, but it's what it appeared to me. And that is, on the way taking the market down, they monetized puts, and at the same time, likely could have been monetizing some calls. But then when it turned, and I don't know if it was them or somebody else came in and resumed with some different algorithms, it appeared if the same traders that got out of both sides, monetized both sides, taking the market down, got a chance to remonetize again. So they got to do it twice because the market really came back higher, or pretty much all of what it gave, getting down to that low on Friday. So it was pretty interesting to watch how they got it down there and then brought it all the way back, particularly in some of the bigger stocks like NVIDIA, et cetera. So again, then today, I just played back into it. But here's what I just want to talk about for just a moment, what I actually was monitoring and looking at to guide me into what I would then assume would be the start of risk on trading. And remember, it's like what I'm using a lot of the gamma levels, or the most important gamma level to me for trading signals, is going to be that volatility trigger. And why? Because if we're coming up from below the volatility trigger and we break it to the upside, then it flips the trade back into risk on trading, which again, the hedge is to buy. So risk on, you're buying, risk off, you're selling. That's if you're a dealer, you're going to be selling. So as we were going down on Friday, it was selling. As we were coming back up on Friday, it was buying. But it was the same action that could be done to monetize it going in both directions. It was amazing to me. So again, looking for that volatility trigger, and this time I was looking for it in the NASDAQ. But as we came in to start trading today, and basically from the Globex opening yesterday, we were above. In fact, the close on Friday basically was above where the volatility trigger ended up coming in. The volatility in the NQ was at 25,121. Well, we didn't start down there. We started much higher. So it was already in, which triggered me to think, okay, I need to be looking for when that risk on trade is really going to come in. And so what I was waiting then for was for the S&P to kind of do the same thing, which it did, but more important than the S&P, for the SPX, which is Big Daddy in the options world too, by the way, was getting it back above 6,800, which was a large gamma level. So achieving both of that and hanging out above it just got us deeper into, okay, it's okay to start doing that, or to start doing risk on trades. So algorithms then took over, and they just kind of went to town with that, because then I started to see that volatility via the VX, not the VIX, the VX, it's the future, starting to get sold, pretty nicely, as the NASDAQ was going up for 200, 300, 400, 500. Excuse me. So it was kind of interesting to kind of pay attention, but then to realize what we were in. And once you can realize that we were in that risk on type of trade, even though on the 15-minute chart we did have some downturns. Let's look. And we had one, we got up to the top, we dropped. See, that could be a fair drop, 25,760, and that low was 25,709. So it really was a $51 move. That's a lot if you're long up in here and it goes down and it doesn't ever come back. So there were those points, but primarily, it was if you were just playing and then following your RSI and following some other things that told you getting overbought. It was just a walk up. And that's pretty much what it was. Basically, you know, I got a little pullback there, but then just walk it, little tiny pullback, walk it, little tiny pullback, etc. That was the only other one that kind of had any size to it. And then we just kind of went out. So keeping that in mind feeds information to me in terms of that the volatility trade is still on. The risk on trade is still in motion. Let's see if it can last another day. So I'm going to go back out to my hourly chart. Now, labeling it, it's going to probably vary, but this is what I'm figuring for right now based on what we have and what I see. That we finished wave 1 of, minuet wave 5. And likely wave 2 was a pretty decent drawdown there, a pullback. Biggest one we had all day, actually. So I marked it as wave 2, which puts us in the starting phases of wave 3. So I put up some fibs, 1 down to 2. So we're giving as 1 relates to wave 3, right? So again, looking under what we're talking about Elliott, that what Elliott's normally saying is that wave 3 is normally, most often, the longest and the strongest. That being the case, you're going to be looking for it to be longer than wave 1. So there's the 100% where wave 3 would be equal to wave 1. Not good enough. I'm going to be looking for more. But it begins to show you if we are in a third wave, that's probably where we're going to be headed, at least to that level, if not more, before wave 3 would be complete. Once we do that, there's that all-time high. We can get up there, we are breaking to new all-time highs again. And that'll keep things very interesting because what are we looking for? This minuet 5th wave to take us to the moon. And back, actually, but taking us to the moon. And there is the marker. It's only a double. This is more of a triple, but that's only for the third wave. So up here, it's 4236 for this minuet wave 5. And it is 1.618 for the minute wave 5. I like it. It's 28,000. 28,000, we're going to say 28,040 to 28,870, 840 to 870. Pretty high, very, very high. But guess what? We have this one big ass earnings report yet to come, and that is NVIDIA. And the way they were trading it today, I don't know if you noticed, again, that's the other thing I was watching it today. It's like NVIDIA traded down to 180 on Friday. And that expiration, how's that for monetizing things that you didn't think you're going to be able to monetize? Truly, it was pretty amazing. On both sides of that market. Now, 180 on Friday, 199.94, $199.94 was the high today in NVIDIA. What a difference a day makes, right? Okay, so I am not much to be adding to the count in terms of what we're doing. I think we're in that third wave, so we should continue to go up. We should continue to see the build up on that risk on trade. And if that's the case, then seriously, what will happen is we're going to start hitting volatility again. The market will just walk itself higher and it won't really seem like it's doing anything. In fact, it'll be pretty boring. So, but keep in mind, it's like you can make money if you have the patience and you can want to sit and watch. That's about it. So fib levels going up, 0.618, 26,046. I think it pauses. It does respect that it's resistance. Probably trades up, trades down, but this will probably just be right in that area of 26,050. So, nice round number. So I think we can get there, but I don't think it's going to stop it, nor do I think it's going to complete that third wave. I think we continue on. 1.618 is actually for minuet wave 5, which again, could put a pause in, not necessarily to new highs, which we'd be looking for out of this, but it should give us a pause. But I think eventually we get above here, 26,415. We need to get a little bit more above it so that wave 3 becomes the longest wave. And I should actually measure it against that. Yeah, it would. Because that's measuring against that. That's with their equality. I need a little bit more. That puts the third wave the longest. And then I don't care what happens in the fifth wave because all those requirements have been met in terms for a 5-wave structure. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. And I think if we start marching in that direction, the risk on trade will continue. And that gives you an idea of, unless some piece of news comes out or something comes to disrupt the market, it should just work its way higher. Okay. Gamma levels will be updated tomorrow morning. And the big thing to remember is, like I said this morning, when I was putting these numbers out, that in the NASDAQ, we're starting at the top and there's not much further to go. And it broke it right away. In fact, that broke both levels before we started trading. So, what do? You go and you look at the cues. Remember, keep an eye on the cues. And that's what I continue to watch. And so the cues finished out the day at 623. 623. And I want you just to see, this is like what these markets are incredible. It opened at 618, 624, low of 616, but it did not come out that way. I believe it gapped to open, and I think it had been up like 8. So I'm trying to think, I can do it this way. Let me go over to the cues. And that's not going to work. I'm trying to figure out what today's range was, folks. So let me go to the daily and go here. Well, there you have it. So on Friday, the market went out at 608, maybe 609. And then suddenly today we gapped. We gapped open at 618. So what had we done coming in? And overnight, we gapped up through the volatility trigger, large gamma 2, large gamma 4, and 0 gamma. So we started with nothing else above us except the call wall, which is pretty far up there. So we're going to wait to see what these numbers are going to show us for tomorrow, because hopefully they have adjusted them, and we'll get new levels here. Either that or everything will still be sitting below us. So we get the same picture. If we start going down and start breaking those same levels, then watch out. I think we can go pretty quick. All right, so back down to that hourly chart. Here it is. Oh, that's the cues. Oh, sorry. You're telling it's been a long day, huh? So here, 4, and then coming up on the 5, 1, 2, get that 3. I think that's kind of where we're going to come, a little bit above that. Put in away 4, we'll be at new all-time highs. New all-time highs is perfect. We finish that 3 into new all-time highs, come down on a 4, go back up on a 5, and bingo. I think we're kind of getting there. This is minute wave 5 will be equal to minute wave 1 at 27,065. Yep, we can have one more if it really wants to get pumped, but that's also a pretty big candidate. But it might only be the third wave. We get a 4, and then we get the 5, and the 5 will explode us up. But the other thing that's kind of amazing to me is, like, we're really looking for this thing to take us out through December the 10th, which is basically the next Fed decision day. That's a month away. Yep, we got a couple of holidays in between, so it's about 18 trading days. Yeah, we could futz around and just keep moving around and work out, moving around, and then finally just on NVIDIA. Here's the scenario. NVIDIA's earnings comes out, they jack it way up there, and the world realizes that was the top. and they just start selling it, right? Could be. Because again, remember what I really do believe is that we're reaching that endpoint where that top level we're going to be finished is the primary third. And we've been working to get to that high of primary wave three ever since, to the maximum chart, ever since 2002. That was the bottom of my primary wave two. So we've been in this primary third since 2002. It's 2025 at the end. So we're 23 years in the making to get up to this high. And look at this fifth wave has been dynamic, and that's from October of 2022. So the last 3 years have been kind of parabolic. Bam, we had one beautiful little fourth wave in there. But it blasted up out of it pretty cleanly. But you see that this nature. So yeah, we're heading. It's not like we're breaking out. It's not like we're just going to keep going vertically, because that's essentially what we'd have to do. With this pattern on a monthly chart, you're really, if you think you're bullish and we're breaking out, you're just believing that this continues to go vertical without any pullback, without any reset, without any, consolidation of any size. I'm on a monthly maximum chart that have years sitting in front of us. You'd be thinking like that was a decent pullback. Didn't take very long, but it reset everything, giving us that opportunity to just haul butt again. Now, bringing it all the way down to what did we do last Friday? We reset everything. So if you're trying to keep it technical, try to keep it like who was buying, why are they buying, what are they doing? I don't care. Play the numbers, do the math, and you're going to get a lot of your answers. So again, just what I just said, we had a strong fourth wave that many people had valid, and they had valid reasons, but they doubted its validity because it was rare, and so many people just wanted to trash it. Well, I'd like to hear from them today. What do you think now? Yeah, it could turn and come all the way back down, no doubt. But when you see it that didn't break any rules, when you see that everything is kind of falling into place, why wouldn't I say this is what I'm looking for? And then I got it. So why would I need to change now when it's doing what I think it should in this position during this particular phase of the market? So, and it's really from doing the math and following gamma, which is the options and how all of this is trading and what gets combined and where we get our resets. This was a reset, right? They monetize going down, they monetize coming back up. Both sides. So a lot of money, a lot of money. And do I care why one was bearish or one was bullish? I'm watching the action of what they're doing. And they weren't there, I'm bearish now because I don't like this or that. It was just like, we're taking it there because I'm going to get out of these puts, or I'm taking it there because I need to get these calls back. And they do it. And they get the calls back. And maybe they took even more. And then they ran it back up and they doubled down, right? Got out twice. These big ass firms make tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars every day. Okay, I'm not going to go on, but I think that we're in good shape to continue this rally. Pullbacks notwithstanding, okay, we will pull back. And be careful if you're day trading and you're working a prop firm account, because they have limitations. You have drawdowns. And if the drawdown gets triggered, that computer will shut you out and off in a heartbeat, in a tick. Okay, so be very careful, because some of these moves, you're looking like, okay, we're going straight up. I want to get long, and then suddenly you get a little bit of a turn, and it's enough, depending on the number of contracts you have, you could be down 500, 750, maybe even $1,000, and still be in the right. We get the turn and we come all the way back. But at that particular time, that trade against what you're doing is going to give you a big loss. So be careful if that's what you're doing. if you're trading that way. Okay, that's it. Again, gamma levels will be updated tomorrow morning, in the morning, and nothing. Tomorrow is actually Veterans Day. So the bond markets are closed. So, and I think some trading desks may be gone. I believe the banks are closed tomorrow. So it could be a little bit slow, but I think we can get a lot done in slow. Also, if you're a day trader, the best time to trade, folks, is right there from the open. And suddenly it'll just kind of go slow and do nothing, and it becomes frustrating and boring to watch. All right, so nothing coming out. We're hoping that the government does officially get restarted, and we'll get Thursday and Friday, we'll get the CPI and PPI and get back to business. All right, next update will be tomorrow morning.